Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board Flight to Youth 22. We are currently first in line for takeoff and are expected to be on air in approximately 20 seconds' time. We ask that you please fasten your seatbelts at this time and turn off any distractions as your full attention is highly appreciated. Before we begin, let us first correct our niyat lillahi ta'ala and open both our hearts and minds. Thank you for choosing Legends Airline of KESAN. We hope you enjoy your flight.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hi everyone. This is your host Rabiato for the sixth episode of Flight to Youth podcast entitled How to Break Your Bad Habits. Now, in this episode, we are bringing a special and remarkable guest who also did achieve a lot of things in her life starting from such a young age. Now, let us welcome Adriana Farhana. Woo!
Hi. Okay, so hello to this listeners of Flight to Youth podcast. I am Adriana Farhana, and I would like to thank you guys for inviting me to this episode of the podcast. And oh my god, it's my first time being in a podcast, so it feels I'm like I feel really excited to be in a podcast because I have always listened to Brunei podcasts, and to be in one feels amazing. Thank you
Wow.
so much for this opportunity.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Now, I have a question for you. Do you have any favorite quotes?
Quotes.
Any quotes?
And I have a lot of quotes. I live by quotes, honestly. I'll start with a quote from the business that I've run since I was 11. If I don't know if your listeners tahu tapi it's Adriana Shawls. Yeah, we're still running until now. But like since masuk uni and now that I am in my first year degree, it's sort of like difficult to balance from time to time. But of course, I always make time for business because you have to balance priorities, studies, business, and since it's a passion that has to be ongoing kan, so of course I have to keep up with the momentum. So the quote that I have always said to my friends or either any customers who are young, and there's actually some of them young ask me like, how do you run a business at such a young age? Considering I start from 11, now I'm going to be 18 in like a few months. So this is the quote. So if you have passion in what you do, don't give up. And age is just a number. Age doesn't define who you are. What matters most is actually in your mentality. Whether you're mature, whether you have the correct mindset, the correct intention, the correct passion, everything will be on your side, inshallah. And to my MS friends, they will definitely know this quote. Success is a series of small wins. I think you know that too, kan Robbie?
Yeah.
When they see me, they know that's the quote that I go by most of the time, from wallpaper to assemblies. And that's actually how I ended my last assembly as well.
So I definitely can relate to your quote tadi. Kan pasalnya everyone bloom at different musim. Yeah, macam basically everyone blooms at different times lah. Like we are built different and how we think also different. So macam comparing ourselves to others, it's not a very good thing to do. Macam it will not bring any benefit. Pasalnya different people have different path life and we also have our own bloom time, which is it might not be now but it will surely happen in the future. Kalau my favorite quote, it'll be one day or day one. Okay, let's say the closest example is when we are preparing for an exam. Kita ni selalu to have that mentality, nanti tah aku, not adalah not everyone but some have that kind of mentality, nanti tah aku study one day cuma tu. Pasalnya exam tu batah lagi hujung tahun. Ya, tu kalau one day, but if day one, maksudnya we start preparing right now. Macam this is our day one in preparing for our exam. So macam it's a huge difference lah. Macam it is one of the thing yang macam make me think, okay, it's either day one or one day. And I pick day one. Pasal kalau one day tu, I'm not sure well when it will happen. Usually when kita ni selalu tunda-tunda masak. Macam nanti tah, nanti tah. And then sekali, belajar last minute. Esoknya exam baru tak akan belajar. So macam it's one of the quote yang make me discipline in my study.
Wow. One day or day one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you treat a personal exam, oh my God, like coincidence, I'm going to be sitting for an exam soon. Actually, few exams. When I heard it, I'm literally in that position right now. Memikirkan like, bila takkan belajar? Kita, like, tunggu, mesti ada day one na tu ba, ha? I mean, I'm always like saying to myself, like, Tre, bila kan belajar for your exam? And I would reply to myself, nandita, nandita. But after hearing your quote, I feel that spirit slowly incorporating in me to start studying as soon as possible because if it's just a one day, it's just a dream. You need to set on a day one to begin your journey. MashaAllah, that's amazing. That's really amazing, Rabbi.
Thank you. Macam we both here inspire each other. Okay.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, now we can jump into the main topic for this episode, which is pasal how to break our bad habits. Tapi first of all, we need to start with the basic. What is habit? So, Adri, what do you think habit is?
To be honest, habit is something that you repetitively do every single day
Yeah.
or in a week. Basically, it depends on the lifespan or the time span that you define a habit for. Like, let's just say the closest example would be studying. Like a habit of studying, you define it in a week. Like, how many times do you study in a week? Or as for meals, some people have a habit of eating 2 times a day, or once a day, twice a day, or even total ikut siapa lagi, lepak, mengopi, and that would be like total of 7 times. Like habits any, there's no such thing as a habit that is set for everyone. Habits, they have to change for each type of person. Like for, let's say like for you and me, Rabi, I would say, how many times do you eat in a day?
China, sometimes I forgot to eat. So maybe one or two.
Yeah, that's the same for me. Like sometimes I don't go for breakfast because like after subuh, I'll just like hibernate. I'll just hibernate sampai the tengah hari because all my classes start in the afternoon. So then I would go for my lunch, then 2 to 3 times. And I think because the both of us, we have different circumstances. We may have the same habits, but sometimes we forget to eat. So it's like, yeah, line lang, but different people. Like, let's say we have a friend who eats once a day because they're not a big eater. So habits only define for a person. It does not define for everyone. Like, sekiranya this person is eating 3 times a day. You don't have to force yourself to eat 3 times a day. If it's not your lifestyle, it's not what you do, and it's not what you can do, then what's the point of copying others? It's exactly like what you stated in your example, Tadi Rabi, why would you compare yourself to others?
Okay, that's interesting. Kalau based on this one book, which is a very famous book, but I'm pretty sure you know it. It's Atomic Habit by James Clear. Sebenarnya, habit ini is a routine or practice performed regularly, and it is done unconsciously. For example, when you are nervous, kan, ada some people ya automatically bite her or his nails. Pasalnya it's part of her or his habit. Macam it is done unconsciously and ia dah sadar pun yang ia buat perkara tu. And then kalau another example is when this is part of my habit juga. Kalau I sit on my study table, it is where I study. I don't play phone cuma tu. In another word, it's like an automatic response to a specific situation. So basically, if I'm in a situation where I'm sitting on my study table, I will definitely go study cuma tu. So yeah. And then ada some people confuse between habits and hobby. It's a two different thing. Hobby, it's any activity that we do that can bring our happiness. Macam we can do it in a long term. We can do it in a long period of time because we enjoy doing it. While a habit, it's an action yang automatically keluar dari diri kita ni. And then move on.
True.
Why is habit important? Macam why is it significant?
Of course, I think the most definite answer to why people need habits is discipline. Hearing from your previous story, Rabi, where you would sit down at your study table, terus belajar, that's pure discipline. Like, well, I'm here. When I study, I need my phone, I need my laptop playing any YouTube. Like, I wouldn't even tapok my phone on my study table. So that can already show that we too have different habits, but it doesn't mean that what we both do will lead to negative effects. Because if that habit is good for that one person, I'm pretty sure it's going to bring positive impacts. It doesn't really matter. People do things differently, kan? Yeah, referring back to your story, Tati, it's really helping you to become someone disciplined. And when you do it all and over again, a habit can change into a routine. Like, let's just say you want to exercise every night, at least for like 15 minutes. The thing about changing from habits to routine, of course, it will be hard, but you stay disciplined. There's still discipline being embedded into that process. And you keep on exercising 15 minutes per day for a whole week. And the best thing about habits and its relation to discipline, when you're disciplined, you become more satisfied. You feel this sort of like, yay, at the end of the week or at the end of the period of time that you're trying to incorporate a habit into a routine. Like habits, and it can change people's life. It can change a mindset. It can change someone physically. Like physically would be for exercising. Mentally would be from a habit of not comparing ourselves to other people. And probably emotionally, we can put the habit of not being angry all the time. And spiritually, we can do our personal amalans, or we can do sedekah most of the time to make ourselves relate with others, to make our hearts better as a Muslim. And habits are just amazing. It can be incorporated in anyone's life, in everybody's life. And actually, like, believe it or not, even cats have habits. Like, they eat 3 times a day instead of makan all the time saja. Because when you feed a cat, the cat like would want to eat more and more and more and more. And of course, the cat actually slowly change that 3 times a day eating into routine. And cats sometimes they always go to this one place. That's actually what's happening to my cat. When hindi ka minta makan saja, leave. Oh my god.
I definitely can relate to that. Kan your example to cat. And if I can relate it to human, macam if people have a habit of eating snacks, kalau that habit become part of them, walaupun they are not hungry, they will still eat the snacks pasal it is part of their habit. Yeah, they don't eat because they are hungry, but they eat because it is part of their habit. Macam terbiasa sudah. Macam itu. Wow.
Yeah, too. Yeah, that's spot on.
Oh yeah, yang when you said that habit ani macam also determines your mentality, it's such a strong message. Soalnya by James Clear juga katanya every action that you do, it's a vote for the type of person that you will become, which is true like what you said, macam it'll as your habit compound, it'll build your personality, your mentality, how you think, how you react to a certain situation, which is macam, yeah, a habit is that powerful without realizing it. And then one of the things yang macam I'm impressed by this book juga, Atomic Habit, katanya change in your habits is similar to the effect of shifting the routes of an airplane by just a few degrees. A slight change in your daily habits can guide your life to a completely different situation. So, maksudnya di sini, kalau there's an aeroplane and then we change the direction just a few degrees, it'll definitely can lead us to a completely different situation. Macam awal our target is to go to Australia. But then since the direction is shift to a few degrees, we ended up landing in Brunei, which is macam to me it's quite funny. So this analogy is the concept of habit. And then next one, what considered as good and bad habits? Kalau in my opinion, my way of thinking ani simple po lang, kalau good habits ani, there will be positive outcomes from your habits ato. For example, your habit ato, it can improve your productivity, it can increase your knowledge, it can invest in your health. Kalau bad habits ani, macam basically you will get negative outcome for your bad habits lah. For example, you have a habit of playing games. Although macam playing games ani, it is fun, it releases your stress. Tapi in reality, it doesn't bring any benefit to yourself because you are wasting your time, you don't invest your time in studying, and then pas itu, in the long term, you will macam having a hard time in your studies pasalnya you wasted all of your time atu in playing games cuma tu. So basically, in my opinion, kalau bad habits ani, it leads to bad outcome. Kalau good habits, it leads to a good outcome.
I definitely agree with that definition because I feel like it is actually really simple belong to deduce what good and bad habits are. It is already stated by the term itself. I guess from my point of view, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes, like, let's just say I'm guilty of playing games. I do get that much of wow, like yeah, as a person who plays games and also and also a student, I feel like these good and bad habits, in my opinion, as a person who likes things to be flexible and likes things to adapt to a person, let's just say like playing games, right? So since you said that it was a bad habit, it can like these type of things, it can be good and bad at the same time. Let's say some people drink coffee in the morning to improve their metabolism, which is a good habit, but it can turn into bad when you drink like I know people who drink like 12 shots of coffee. Imagine how pahit that is, and all those caffeine rushing in your body to improve your metabolism. And that turns into a bad habit. I feel like for playing games, on my side, I play games as leisure. So like sekiranya if I have free time and like let's say I'm just sitting down and rather than finding something to do, I go on games and just spend some time on it. Yung orang asalkan ubay-ubaya. And that's how it's a good habit or a neutral habit. Then it goes into a bad habit by the time you start repetitively doing it and forgetting all your other priorities.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how it starts to be bad. Macam if we define something, like what I said to me earlier as how I define a habit, it's not always for everyone. Yeah, it's not for everyone in your everyday life lah. Macam what you do in your everyday life is your habits are you don't have to be like everyone else. Like sekiranya orang exercise, ada yang 3 jam ke gym apa, and tani exercise di rumah 30 minit, like just doing home exercises on YouTube. We're doing exercise, but in different terms because we're not like the other person. The other person's not like us. So that's how I look at good and bad habits lah. Yan mesti ikut orang atu. Kalau orang atu pada ubaya-ubaya, then jadi good habit. Kalau ya orang atu macam because people do things differently. Let's say like exam lah, menghafal. Some people like to menghafal for their exams like in the middle of the night. And some people they remember more by the time it's in the morning. Although there's like scientific facts of students who memorize their notes after 8 or 9 p.m. they won't their brain is also like they're not absorbing anything. But for some students, the middle of the night is their peak stage, and some students they sleep at like 7 to 9, then 9 until middle of the night they will memorize and they sleep again. And some students they will start memorizing early and then the whole night they just sleep because we're born differently. Everyone has different mental capabilities. Everyone has different mental strengths, different IQs. That's why, like, I don't like when things are incorporated to us, and we are to change for something that we are not capable of doing. Like, let's say you're forcing something on someone, It's like asking a newborn to suddenly count 1 plus 1 by the time they're born.
Mm.
Like there's no point of incorporating something that they cannot do. Yeah, I feel like that's how I define good and bad habits and the methodology behind it.
Wow, it actually opened my mind. When you point out a very good point. You said that we can't really define good and bad habits because it depends on different people. Also, different people have different strengths and weaknesses. So, kalau for example lah, yang pasal playing games satu, ada some people ya play games so that ya apa tu dapat pause for a second from this whole hectic world where there are so many challenges and responsibility to do. So macam kalau orang atu main game, just so that ia dapat apa tu take a break from everything, then it's probably good for your punya mental health. But as you mentioned again, kalau it become an action that you do frequently from time to time until distracted you from doing your responsibility, then that is where it become a bad habit. Which is macam wow, it's a very good point that you point out just now. So the second last question, why do we need to break our bad habits? What do you think, Adri?
Bad habits, they really need to be broken fast because you don't know how it's going to take a toll on you. These bad habits, maybe you keep on doing it every day, but you don't know what impact it is giving to you. And with these bad habits, like the quality of what you do can be lowered by these bad habits, and you're not maximizing your potential because of these. Yeah, I would say that's the case. Like, let's say, macam you want to study for an exam, a really good exam. Let's just say for AS ka, A level, O level, any big exams or even as simple as normal exams. You want to like study, and because of your bad habit of delaying every single time, every single day is wasted. And imagine how many days you have wasted and you're not maxing out your potential. And you keep on telling yourself at the end of the day, you look at your result and you wonder and ponder on why is my outcome like this? And just because of simple bad habits that you can break, that can be just removed instantly. Or as I said, like tadi kan, when you want to incorporate a habit in your life, you have to keep on doing it and with your intentions as well. So sayang ba, macam apa yang tadi buat dalam kehidupan ni, like we wasted. We waste what we could do. We wasted our own capabilities. Because as a person, we should always be, we don't always have to be the best. We don't always have to be the first, but we always need to be at our best. Being the best and being at our best, it's not the same thing. Being the best is that you have to be better than the rest, which is definitely not what we should think of becoming. We should not think of being wanting to be the best all the time because there are also other people who are as good as you. Maybe there are people who are better than you, or maybe you can be better than someone else. But at the end of the day, we stand on the same ground. We are buried on the same ground, and we lie here as the same people. We are all human beings with different capabilities, and there's no reason why we need to define ourselves to become the best. At the end of the day, taraf tani dengan orang lain, tani semua hamba Allah. Tani semua, we're all humans together. So it doesn't mean that you have to be too rich or you have to be the best at all your academics to be the best. It doesn't matter macam tani keupayaan tani macam mana ka apakah. We just need to be at our best. We have to be out our potential. We need to be at our maximum capabilities. Tapi of course we cannot go beyond what we cannot do. Then you'll have a burnout. Then that will just definitely rupture everything that you have set for yourself to break those bad habits. Basically macam ni orang sadang-sadang saja. Yeah, like be just at the bare minimum to become at your maximum. Like don't burn out. That's really one of the worst things that you could ever do to yourself. I've burned out once. Yeah, and then incorporating new habits is difficult. Panay. It's a period that I went through, and Ya Allah, I wish no one will ever go through that. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Kesian, macam burning out and me like shifting. I'm not really shifting away from habits lah. I'll tell you how burning out and habits are related.
Yeah,
When you
take
burn out, you want to change kan? You want to change your habits. It's not gonna work because when you burn out, you're beyond your limits, and then you can't really move. You're like in this position where you stop and stare, macam, ya Allah, what can I do? Macam, how can I change apa? It's, kira kan, I wouldn't say your brain dead, tapi your brain stops there to think like, how am I going to change lagi? How can I incorporate new habits? Because you have to heal first. It takes time lagi to kalau burn out to heal. And how related to habits is that kalau you burn out, you want to tukar new habits and you want to incorporate new habits. You have to wait for another period of time lagi because of your own actions of pushing yourself. Or either you are pushing people's words against you. Habits ani macam it's actually a very broad topic. How it affects you mentally, physically, emotionally, and also spiritually. The impact on your mental health, the impact on your you want to do in life. Because even though habits only as simple as studying 10 minutes a day, you don't know what impact it can bring to you in the future. Like let's just say macam if I don't know how to relate this to habits, tapi as I'm doing research on IKEA right now for my assignment, I read on IKEA's owner. I'm not really sure how to say his name, but see in Ingvar namanya. IKEA is everywhere. It's in my room even. It's in several stores in Brunei. And he started from selling matchsticks. And now he's at this big empire company.
wow.
And then throughout that, he definitely has to incorporate habits into his life. If he kept on selling matchsticks and he did not expand his business and he did not venture into changing his business from simple matchsticks to wood, and now he's making furniture that people can assemble. And IKEA is something that almost every household globally has then. And see that how a matchstick can change into a global business. Incorporate that into your life as well. Imagine how just spending 10 minutes of studying per day, as bare minimum of 10 minutes, it can get you to somewhere. That's how habits should evolve. Yeah, it's you.
Wow, Masya Allah. Yeah, it's true. Macam banyak people think yang massive success ini requires massive action. Tapi benarnya it comes from these small daily habits that we do every day, which then compound and wait, what am I saying? Sorry, I'm lost.
Ngam too. It's actually something like success is a series of small wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true when you said that habits ani affect our health mentally, physically, and spiritually. Habits ani, it's a small action which then lead to the next action. Macam once you started picking up your phone, then what is the next action? Then you will go into your Instagram and then you scroll and then okay, procrastination. Lepas itu you are distracted for 1 hour to 2 hour, 5 hours until the bila can stop. Yeah, breaking our bad habits ani it's a hard thing to do. Pasalnya macam a habit ani, if it becomes a habit, it'll stick to you like a glue. And then macam you also didn't realize it that you do those bad habits. Pasal those habits satu macam you do it unconsciously. And until when other people tagur you, baru tah macam you macam oh really I did that. Macam tu. So macam yeah, macam these small bad habits ani need to stop lah so that macam it doesn't apa tu lead to a further problem or I don't know macam it can either make or break you basically.
Oh,
So
that's correct. Yeah, actually, like to add on a little bit to that, when you said that, like people will realize our habits. I think so, tapi I'm not sure if it's just me or maybe you as well. We feel that
Yeah.
sometimes people see through us more than we see through ourselves. And I feel like having a second opinion on people, and I would say for this situation, I want to shout out this to my partner,
Mm,
Kyron, if he's listening this. He has seen through my own habits more than I see it. And
mm,
I feel like for other people as well, kadangnya tani indelit what we have in ourselves. Like he sees my potential more than what I see in myself.
mm,
I mean, habits, I mean, breaking habits, you don't always have to do this alone.
mm,
We live in a community. We live with other people and we live with our loved ones. It doesn't matter. It doesn't always have to be a significant other. It can also be your parent ka or your sibling, your best friends who know you truly. Like if we harapan diri sendiri, sometimes we overthink of ourselves, especially people who are high achievers or overachievers. They see themselves in the perspective where they're not doing enough. But when you ask to another person, they see that you're at your utmost potential and we think lowly of ourselves too. Sayang jud kan. And you think that this habit is bad for you, but actually other people see it through you and say you're doing great. And and people when we do something wrong and people see us and tell us that you're not doing something that is beneficial for you. But tau lah, kadangnya tanya ni, we sometimes don't incorporate husnuzon on in our life. We always think that when someone criticizes us, but of course, macam when we hear people criticize us, we always think it as negatively. Our ego would immediately think macam, that person thinks badly of myself. Like, why would they criticize me? I'm doing, like, macam, kira kan tadi pang jadi like emotional,
mm,
dangan orang lain like criticize us, but it's actually for the good.
mm,
I, like, and then like lama kelamaan, when you slowly realize it, and you'll be like, eh, that person wasn't actually criticizing me. That person was actually doing something good.
mm,
And that's also a habit. Mesti husnuzon. Gitu.
mm,
Yeah, that's, I don't know, macam, I, I got that click in my mind when you said that other people can be telling us that what we're doing is good or bad. I
mm,
mean, of course, people to be selective, like someone that who truly knows you, or someone that doesn't have the intention of bringing you down, or someone that has been with you through your ups and downs. And as I said, hindi kira siapa doesn't have to be a partner, it doesn't always have to be a friend, or it can be your own parent, it can be your siblings, or even your own family members, relatives, aunts, uncles. It can be anyone. Selagi orang itu tahu who you are, sometimes you may not know yourself as much as people know you.
mm,
Yeah. But of course, ito lain-lain lang untuk orang. Macam that's, for me, I do hold on to that.
mm. Wow, mashallah, macam yeah, it's nice having macam a partner or a circle, a group of friends yang macam dapat tagore each other of our bad habits ka, so that macam we can improve together. Pasalnya kalau when we are together, we are selalunya strong ba? We are stronger when we are together, which makes the process of improvement itu much more easier. Pasal you are together. Kalau compared to when you are alone, it's harder pasalnya you will face a lot of distractions and so on. Tapi kalau if you do it together, macam with your friends or with your partner, it's more doable. Pasal macam you are there for each other, which is mashallah.
Oh, that's also cute. Like, macam, Allah, but vulnerable lang. Because sometimes ko tadi, like, with ourselves, right? We want to, like, fight with ourselves. Macam, you're not enough. Like, itu, like, padahal orang lain lihat tani ni cukup sudah. People
Mm,
see the content, they feel content with who we are, but, like, it is the small ego in ourselves to think that hindi cukup more lagi. We are greedy. We want more and more and more.
mm,
But padahal orang lain see us sudah as the most. Ayun eh.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mindset is important.
Yeah, true. Wah, tadi jauh sudah. Okay, let's get back to the next question, and also the main topic of this podcast, which is what are the ways to break our bad habits? To me lah, kalau when something becomes a habit, it is something that I can't change. Oh, pasalnya it is something that I do unconsciously. So tapi walaupun it is something that we can't change, it definitely can be destroyed or break. So one of the tips that I got from this professor, namanya Professor Muhaya, katanya if you want to break your bad habits, you can by replacing the bad habits with good ones once you get a trigger to do that habit. For example, playing phone laha. So when we see our phone, it's an automatic response for us to pick up our phone and but to check on our social media without realizing it lah. So what we can do is that once that trigger comes in, macam okay aku rasakan buka telefon, then tani tarus let's say kita ni tarus ambil wudu and then kita ni semayang sunat. Cuma tu. And then after that, that trigger will go away. Or maybe, kalau tadi rasa macam, kan main game ko eh. So, what we can do is that once that trigger of wanting to play games atau comes in, tani tarus pick up a book and read a book. And we do it so many times repeatedly until it becomes a part of your habits. Yeah. So that is the Professor Muhaya punya tip. The analogy that ia pakai is when you have a clear glass of water and then you put in a drop of black ink, which eventually causes the water to become black kan. Jadi, if you want the glass of water to become clear semula, you keep on adding more water into the glass until it eventually the water becomes clear again. So basically macam once the trigger of bad habit starts to come in, you pick up an action that can make that trigger go away. Scientifically, if we do this method for 66 days, it'll eventually become a part of your habit. Tapi benarnya, it depends. It depends on the number of times you do it. The more you do it, the more it becomes familiar and eventually you don't have to think about it, which means you do it unconsciously. So in this case, it's about the amount, the repetition, not the quality. So I think that's saja that I want to deliver. How about you, Adri?
Okay, so for me, how I break my own bad habits, genuinely speaking, it is actually quite difficult. Kadangnya macam sudah tani break for like a few days, we're at that momentum. Then suddenly there's that one day where you just like, okay, let me just go back to what I usually do. Sekalinya, it's a whole new cycle lagi. You're back at your bad habits all over again. Then to pick it up one more time is, of course, it takes courage. But for me, I think this method can apply for everyone. You just need to have your intentions right. Ingatkan, ingatkan you know why to. Kenapa you want to change your bad habits? Hindi kira habits belajar ka, playing your phone, or habits on trying to exercise several times a week, or even you want to reduce your portion in makan. Ingatkan, why are you doing this for? And for me, the most effective way of trying to break a bad habit, ingatkan saja, you know why to, is always kerana Allah Ta'ala. You belajar kerana Allah Ta'ala because it's menimba ilmu. Talabul ilmi fardhatun ala kulli muslim. Belajar adalah wajib kepada setiap orang muslim. And that's the nawaitu you have to incorporate into your head. Sekiranya you want to exercise, you can put the nawaitu as kerana Allah Ta'ala, you want to take care of your body. You want to take care of the amanah that has been given for Allah Ta'ala to take care of yourself. You cannot hurt yourself. That's how habits can be broken. Ingatkan for what? For who? And you want to study hard. No, I know because I want to make my parents proud. I want to make all of my hard work pay off by the time I go to work, by the time I build a family and all my children are living their life well because I've worked hard to make money for them. That's how that's how I would think of ways to break bad habits. always remember what you want to foresee in the future. Foreseeability is one of the crucial keys and vital roles in breaking a habit because as we went from earlier on kan, bad habits ani tani hindi kan tahu apa yang punya effect in the future. We don't know how it will affect our future tasks, our future decisions, our future results. So it has to be done now. That's how you break bad habits. Ingatkan saja your intention. Because hindi semestinya physically you buat, tapi your heart and your mental in the buat. Because physical and mental balance has to be the same. What's the point of exercising every day, but your mental health, you're not taking care of your mental health as well? Mesti jaga diri zahir dan batin. That's how I think about it.
Wow. Oh, it's true. It's all about intention. Whatever intention yang tertanam di dalam hati kita ni, then that is the action that we will do. Macam our action depends on our intention. There's this one thing that I do lah, so that macam it can renew my intention. My phone ni is one of the distraction lah jua to me. So what I do is that on my lock screen, I change the wallpaper with my parents punya pictures. So that macam, okay, whatever I'm doing, and it's from my parents. They are the one yang jaga kita ni dari damit. They sacrifice a lot for us without complaining a single thing. So macam, it makes me more conscious of what I'm doing. And then it also macam make me jaga my niat. Kalau macam playing phone na tu, untuk apa? Is it for kebaikan or keburukan? The process of breaking a habit, Annie, it's definitely difficult lah, ha? And one thing that we need to take note of, that we need to be more open of making mistakes. Sonia, yeah, we should give ourselves a permission to make mistakes. And then, Sonia, making mistakes, Annie, it's inevitable, right? So, yeah, we need to be more open. So it's okay to make mistakes during the process of breaking your habit. Macam kadang-kadang kita ni terlupa or like something happened during that day. But that does not mean that we should repeat the same mistakes over again. So instead, we should, when you make mistakes, you need to think, how are you going to tackle from repeating the same mistakes? So macam it's okay to make mistakes during the process. Pasal it is also where you can learn and grow from your mistakes.
Like, I'm also the type of person who's perfectionist, and I have friends who are perfectionists as well. Like, hindi dapat salah sedikit, but I always remind to myself, like, Adri, you're not supposed to be perfect, and you cannot be perfect all the time. You may get a perfect score on exams, you may get perfect scores on quizzes, or perfect scores on any tests. Like, those are just numbers and they don't define your whole entirety of your existence. Like, kalau you live to be perfect, then what's the point of continuing your everyday life? Because we learn every single day. And learning without mistakes is like, how can you improve, kan? Macam kalau tani hindi buat salah, tani hindi tahu apa kesalahan tani. We cannot be perfect, but we can improve. We can be better. That's a mindset that people should have, and especially students who aspire to become better. Because sometimes macam the results that we have, let's say like results exam kan, like we always look back at it and say, oh, I could have done this better, and oh, I should have spent more time with this. Those are mistakes that we can apply for the next following journeys in our life. Because when you step on this stone of failure, it doesn't mean that your whole world is going to crumble down and you don't have any more chances to prolong or proceed in the future. Ito, macam banal ta, mistakes, ano, you need to make it. Like in terms of habits, you need to see what you have been doing wrong for you to improve your habits. Because there's no such thing as a perfect habit. There is such thing as a habit that you can improve through time to reach its optimum state. That's how I see it. Macam mana ta? I always tagur arah diri sendiri je. Don't fikirkan to be perfect all the time. If you're perfect, then what's the point of you to learn? What's the point of you to go on in your everyday life? Even as simple as eating, there can also be mistakes by eating too fast or macam eating without swallowing. Even as simple as that, you can find those mistakes in simple habits or even sleeping. Maybe you might be sleeping bertiarap. That's also a habit that you need to take away because of the mistakes that you do.
Mm.
Because these mistakes provide an impact. And as I said, impact can mean semestinya short term, it can be long term impact. Like maybe by sleeping tiarap, it can impact your health for until you're older. Just that's how I see it.
I see. All right, and we are at the end of today's episode. So I want to say a huge thanks to our special guest, Adriana Farhana, for making time to be in this podcast despite of your packed schedules, lah. So do you have any last word before we end this episode?
Once again, I would like to thank Flight to You to for inviting me to become a part of your podcast series, and it's really such an amazing experience to be speaking about habits, as habits is also something that everyone struggles on, and including myself. It's not an easy thing to do, and to talk about this openly with my fellow junior Rabi and how we overcome it, as well as how we define habit and how open-mindedness and broad this topic can be. It's such an interesting experience, and over the course of how long did we go speak about habits, Rabi?
2 hours, almost 2 hours.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's how amazing habits could lead us to by speaking about it for a long time. It's a topic that is important for everybody to know, and how people can cope with themselves too and into improving ourselves as better people. Because we're all no up to perfect. We are someone, and we are all at the same sheet where we need to improve, we need to learn new things, and habits are something that is in everybody's lives, but at the end of the day, it's depending on what your habits are, how you change it, and how you incorporate it into your life and how it benefits you, and most importantly, how it will benefit your future. Just a small message to the listeners of this episode of the podcast. Always remember to foresee your future. Always think about what's going to happen in the future, especially for students who are taking O levels. Don't forget to foresee what you want to be in the future, because what you decide in your A level subjects will decide what you'll be doing next time. And for O level students who wish to not do A levels, well, the next career path and picking your field that you want to do, sekiranya business ka apa ka, always look at the future. Jangan lupa what you're going to do by the time you finish your academic journey. And within your academic journey, that's where your habits come in, because those small habits will also determine what's going to be the results of your academic journey. That's my slice of cake that I can share with everyone.
Wow, mashallah. Thank you, Adri, for the heartful and inspiring message. So I guess that's all from us. This is the sixth episode of Flight to Youth podcast. And inshallah, we will see you next time when we see you.